rock and roll is a 50-year reflection of who we are in Oklahoma. The main streets of Muskogee and McAllister and Frederick and Woodward. It's the radio stations in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. It's the musicians that start with Bob Wills and Woody Guthrie and Wanda Jackson in this sound of rhythm and blues and rockabilly and country and western, and it blends into this thing we call rock and roll. This exhibit has allowed us to build a collection that probably will be unsurpassed in the entire country in terms of a musical heritage in one state.
I think Oklahoma is unique in the amount of talent that we produced out of here in all genres, and they are all tied together.
Oklahoma's always had a diverse musical landscape, from jazz to country to rhythm and blues.
We have in the best possible mixture for rock and roll music.
Major funding for Gallery is made possible by Pauline Dwyer Mecklenburg and Robert A. Mecklenburg Jr. Foundation. Additional funding by the Kerr Foundation, Jasmine and Melvin Moran, and Simmons All Spa, and by the Oklahoma Arts Council.
This is amazing. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. We have, let's see, we've got the Collins kids. We have Wanda Jackson. We have Tommy Allsup, Sugar Free All-Stars, Ronnie K.
If you wanted to book a rock and roll concert using only Oklahoma artists, you'd have, well, a knockout lineup. The Oklahoma History Center did that very thing. They lined up the state's rock icons for the christening of an exhibit that highlights Oklahoma's contributions to rock and roll.
Oklahoma's rock and roll heritage is as big a story as almost any of our other cultural stories. We have a lot of people that have been innovative in this style of music, which is one of America's few uniquely American art forms. Oklahomans were involved in all aspects of this popular culture.
We will have an all-star cast of people who are coming to see their story, and they will appreciate the stories of everyone else. So Lori Collins will appreciate the story of Wanda Jackson and the story of Tommy Allsup, who played with Bob and Johnny Lee Wills and played with Buddy Holly. These people will enjoy being with their contemporaries and seeing the younger artists. The younger artists will appreciate the older artists. So when we open this exhibit for them, I'm going to enjoy their reactions.
But anyway, well, it's good to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Zach, well, it's good to meet you. I'm Wayne. All right. I'm worried that this giant airplane, they hung it real quick the other day. I'm worried this thing's going to just fall on us here. I think it's wonderful. I mean, I never could have imagined that I would have an exhibit in a museum in Oklahoma. Yeah, come on, I'll sign your thing. Let's sign my page there.
Well, I suggested to our director, I said, what we need to do is do an exhibit on the history of rock and roll in Oklahoma. And it was almost kind of, it wasn't something that was necessarily, we had all this research done, and then we do it. It was just kind of a flippant comment that I figured would be, oh yeah, we'll get to, you know, and then that would be it. Well, our director, Dr. Blackburn, immediately said, yeah, let's do it.
You know, we kind of raised some eyebrows. Well, that's a little different. But I tell you, when we really analyzed it against the fundamentals of the History Center, it worked because first, we want to build collections. Second, we want to preserve collections and preserve memories and stories. And third, we want to share history with people. And when we looked at those three criteria with the rock and roll exhibit, we were very light in our collections. This has allowed us to build the collections to more than 200 hours
of high-definition quality videotape. It's allowed us to bring in artifacts that represent 50 years of our history. We've never had such public interest with magazines and newspapers and documentary crews coming in and looking at what we're doing. We think the world will beat a path to this exhibit. So in terms of sharing, we think we will reach #1 on the charts with this particular exhibit.
Another hot Oklahoma night. Another hot Oklahoma night.
The History Center's exhibit is titled Another Hot Oklahoma Night, a theme from a song done by Oklahoma's The Call.
We were shaking in our beds that night. We were shaking in our boots that night.
When I hear a rock and roll song, it takes me somewhere else. And it takes me somewhere where there's energy and there's heat and there's excitement and there's something going on. And that's another hot Oklahoma night. Whether you're standing in line with a bunch of friends outside Cane's waiting for that door to open, or whether you're at a dance, or whether you're on the radio or in a car back in the 50s with your friends or friend listening to KOMA, there's heat and energy to rock and roll.
Hey, Larry Collins, would you come out and help me pick a little bit, huh?
I'd love to.
You know, I look at these tapes that we did when we were 9, 10 years old, and it's kind of, I know it's me. I go, put a lid on that kid.
Larry Collins and his sister Lori Collins are back in Oklahoma after being gone for more than 50 years. In 1954, they were the Collins Kids. Talented tykes from Tulsa who made rock and roll history when they moved to California and became fixtures on a popular LA television variety show called Town Hall Party.
And they were playing sped up country, rockabilly, and he was jumping around. He was doing Chuck Berry duck walk and Elvis stuff. This is before either one of those guys became popular. So and she, very pretty lady, she was dating Ricky Nelson for a while. She performed on the Ozzie and Harriet show with him and was regular as his girlfriend on the show also.
I feel we were really blessed to have been in that era of the 50s because it was a special time. It's music with a real beat to it. And Larry and I feel very, I guess, excited because we were innovators of that music, and so it's great to see how accepted it is in today's world.
Today, the Collins Kids' music is called rockabilly, a term invented after their heyday. And rockabilly is making a comeback. It's huge in Europe, where Lori and Larry enjoy great success. This visit to Oklahoma is the first for the duo in decades.
When I stepped off the plane, I took a deep breath and said, Oklahoma. It is our soul, my soul.
I think it's just something in the dirt. It's just something in the air. It's the open spaces, the smiles on the people, the creative nature. Sort of, if you don't have it, you can't afford it, you make it.
There's the tour that almost killed us right there.
That one up there, the 30 days?
Yeah. It's amazing how great things look when you put them behind glass in a case. Yeah.
Brad Piccolo is a member of the 20-year-old band, the Red Dirt Rangers. The group was born in Stillwater, a town that is considered the epicenter of red dirt music.
The power of rock and roll. We started in Stillwater going to college. A couple of us did talent shows. A lot of the bars on the Strip in Stillwater, and a place called The Farm, which is a very influential place for red dirt music. And that's kind of where we got our start. Different songwriting friends of ours and singers like Jimmy LaFave and Bob Childers. And, just all these guys, they took us under their wing and kind of showed us the ropes about how to write songs and just how to live like a musician, especially Bob Childers.
College towns are kind of a spawning ground for bands, and Stillwater's produced a lot of red dirt music. Jimmy LaFave and which a lot of those guys consider themselves rock and roll, and we've included them in this exhibit because progressive country, Kevin Welch, Red Dirt Rangers, they don't consider themselves strictly country. But that's where All American Rejects are. They were formed in Stillwater. And the same with Norman. In the 90s, there was a string of bands that performed in the Norman music scene, like the Chainsaw Kittens, the Nixons, the Flaming Lips played around Norman a lot. And if you went even back to the 60s, at Southeastern State University in southeastern Oklahoma, that's where the Five Americans met and formed.
Things went wrong today, bad news came my way. I woke up to find, hey,
Well, you don't look at all like that picture.
In the best church.
Peroxide.
Well, I was the leader of the group, the Five Americans.
The Five Americans, all 5 of them came from Oklahoma. They were America's answer to the Beatles and enjoyed 7 years of chart-topping success.
We were a club band down in Dallas, and one of those starving groups, and then we wrote a song called Western Union, which went to #3 in Billboard, and then we wrote another song called I See the Light, which went top 20, and another one called Sound of Love and Zip Code that also went top 40 in Billboard. So we had a string of hits.
now you've gone away. How it's sad to say you've gone. I remember what they said. Now I'm going out of my head.
Toured with the Doors, played the Whiskey a Go-Go. Their story's fascinating. I mean, they were at the top. They were there with Jim Morrison. They were there with all those guys.
After his time in the spotlight was done, the top 40 musician returned to Oklahoma and became a high school principal. Today, he's retired and teaching part-time. There is currently a petition drive to have Mike Rabin and the Five Americans inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
It's been quite a long time, but the memories are still there, very vivid.